Welcome back to IGN Live at San Diego Comic-Con 2018. For well over a decade now, we've heard rumblings about the possibility of a live-action Metal Gear Solid movie, and now, more than ever, it seems like it might actually, finally, really, seriously be happening. Joining us now to tell us a little bit about how this project is coming together, here is Jordan Vogt-Roberts, who's been hard at work bringing this Metal Gear movie to life.
Trying.
So
for 10 years, I've also wanted to see this movie.
Yeah, I mean, who hasn't? Kojima first mentioned that in like 2006, and I mean, he's since no longer really attached to Metal Gear. And for the past, I believe, 8 or 9 days, you're doing 31 days of Metal Gear concept art in honor of Metal Gear's 31st anniversary.
Yeah.
And you're just dropping Metal Gear movie concept art on your Twitter?
Yeah, pretty much. When we were writing the script, I just kind of needed to have a creative outlet, so I just went to all of my favorite concept artists and people who were inspired by Kojima and inspired by Yoji Shinkawa, and I said, hey, look, let's just make some crazy art. You know, art that related to the script, art that was just inspiration, art that was a remix. Just, I needed an outlet. I love it so much, and so we just wanted to put it out there, and now it's the 31st anniversary, and I just wanted to give back to the fans, to say thank you, and look how much we all love this.
It's been sort of like a Metal Gear advent calendar. Here's the first one you put up, which it's like, it's chilling to be like, oh, this feels like a movie, you know? That doesn't, I mean, you know, Kojima is like very cinematic as a game designer, but this is, I don't know. Well,
one of the craziest things to me is Metal Gear is such a massive franchise, but when you go on Google and you start Googling Metal Gear art, most of it is kind of like character-based art. It's people drawing their favorite characters. Very little of it is sort of things that fall in the line of like proper keyframes and concept art. I was really actually taken aback of how little there is out there, and so I wanted to make really cinematic, beautiful keyframes, proper concept art that just represented things that may be in the film, things that were just things I wanted to see, like Cyborg Ninja fighting a gecko, which is a mashup you've never seen before, and just put it out there.
So let's talk about that for a second. This is concept art. This is like visual brainstorming.
Yeah.
Not representative of final product necessarily.
Ish.
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff that's obviously you're kicking around.
Yeah, to me, it's just an outlet to say, I want to see what it looks like to have Cyborg Ninja and a gecko next to each other. I want to see what it looks like to see Big Boss, like a younger version of Big Boss, and Snake next to each other. I want to see what these things visualize as, so you can see how it may inform a script, how it may inform what that film looks like.
Now, obviously, Metal Gear has a lot of lore. There's a lot of source material.
An infinite amount of lore.
Exactly, and people are like, okay, so how's this going to work? Is this which game is it going to be? And it's not. You're not doing it. You're going to break some stuff, right? You're gonna shuffle things around.
Kojima's advice to me truly was, do what I would do, betray your audience. Now, which is a very Kojima-sound thing to say. However, my goal really is to try and translate what the fans want and expect, and to truly take the unwieldy, amazing, you know, decade-spanning timeline and have a way to make part of that make sense as a film. You know, even this piece of art right here, I love because it's a diptych that sort of shows the transition between two different time periods and how they mirror each other. Because to me, a huge part of Metal Gear is about the cycle of pain. It's about the repetition of war. It's about the mirroring and the way in which these people get trapped on the battlefield. So we're not exactly adapting something verbatim as this game, but we're also not just going to throw it out in a crazy, like, Dark Tower way that completely disregards why fans love the thing.
Yeah, I feel like remix isn't even the right word, but you're...
No, I can't really go into it. All I can say is I'm so proud and excited of... I think that the way we adapted it is the most Kojima-san way to adapt this thing. And the script is one of the coolest things I've ever read, and particularly the way in which we're dealing with time periods and the scope of it is one of the things that I look at in a script and I say, I've never seen that before. And I think it's it's a way to, I think, just break past people's boredom of a traditional 3-act structure and how movies are structured, which I think people just are bored of these days. But B, I think it taps into the Metal Gear lore in a way that people just haven't seen.
And did we go through all the art yet? I feel like we might have a piece or two left. There's one that I really want to point out. There's this one. This is a very...
I mean, to me, when I was a kid and I played that, you know, in 7th grade or whatever it was, that hallway was just such an iconic moment. You know, to me, Cyborg Ninja, Null, Gray Fox, you know, whichever incarnation you want to refer to him as, you know, there's just, you've seen versions of these sort of exosuits in film yet. I don't think a single one of them has touched the badassery of what Cyborg Ninja was.
No, I mean, like, again, we played this when we were in 7th grade. Like, you're not fully processing stuff. Your worldview doesn't really encompass how incredibly nuts this was. But to be like, you're a spy, but oh, by the way, there's like a murderer running around killing people.
But that thing in particular is one of my favorite elements of Metal Gear, where you go in and it's the self-serious world. They're talking in jargon and lingo you don't understand, and then suddenly you turn a corner and there's a guy in a gas mask levitating, and it's your first moment of this little hint of supernatural and things being bizarre and like military surrealism, as I refer to it. And this cyborg ninja in the hallway, that's another moment like that where it goes beyond that. It's more than just a military story.
Yeah. No, you have an affinity for katanas and gas masks, as demonstrated in Skull Island. Here's the newest piece we have to date, which is clearly very informed by Guns of the Patriots.
Yes, this is brand new. No one's seen this yet. I should note very intensely, that is Christian Bale's face. No one should take anything for casting from that. It's very common when concept artists create art. They just grab people's faces. So in no way, definitively, is this indicative at all of casting. Need to put that out there. But to me, yeah, this was a way of wanting to visualize some of those moments and see how intimidating the geckos were, and then put in surreal smoke and put in these elements and put in that sort of bored snake as he's just smoking, saying, "Do I really have to deal with this?"
Now, on the subject of casting, I'm not going to make you just line up your best snake actors or whatever. But like, where are you in that process?
I have a billion different ideas in my head. We just turned in the script, and so that has to go and kick around with the studio and ping pong back and forth an enormous amount. But we have not even begun the casting process yet. That won't happen until much later, and so people can fan cast all they want on the internet, but ultimately that is a process that happens much, much later.
Okay, now I'm going to throw you a curveball. The last time we hung out, I made you pitch me a Metroid movie. All right, I want a Zelda movie idea. Go.
The thing about Zelda is not Lord of the Rings, right? Zelda, you cannot forget how quirky and bizarre Zelda is at the time. For me, if you were to do Zelda, I think you have to find a way to very intensely fuse the pure just sort of fantasy of the Ocarina of Times and the Link to the Past, but then I think you need to find a way to incorporate the newer pseudo tech stuff, the almost lasers and Tron lines that happen in the newer games, but in a way that's not overwhelming. I think you need to find a way to actually fuse the traditional Zelda and the very new Zelda, but I actually fully think Link should not speak the entire film. I would do a film where he is a silent protagonist.
Interesting. All right, well, I love hearing this stuff. If you want more Metal Gear concept art, go follow Jordan on Twitter. It is time for us to roll a few commercials, but stick around because just ahead we tried our hardest to catch the cast of The Flash. Spoilers, we do, and we interview them.